spot in Gartner's. We've earned the spot in Gartner's 2024 Market Guide, and that's the foundation that we'll build on today. So here's the plan. Over the next few minutes, as many as that takes, we'll cover 5 signs your MDR is failing, show how we solve them, and share a real customer story. Then we'll open it up for Q&A. So if you have anything, go ahead, as Crystal said, post that in the chat, and we'll get to that towards the end. So if everyone's ready, we'll go ahead and dive right in. If my slides will move forward. All right, let's quickly just walk through the agenda for today. So listen, we already hit number 1, right? Introduction, check. We'll walk through false positives and what that means to you and how we resolve that. We'll also walk through, which is the second sign, which is limited visibility. And again, how Critical Start addresses that. The third sign, which is inflexible deployment and response. You need a very flexible deployment. I guarantee you, as many people as we have on this call, that's how different the environments are that are out there. So it is not a one-size-fits-all. Lack of human expertise. Listen, AI is taking over a lot of things. AI is great. AI helps us in a lot of ways, but AI does not take over that human expertise that we can provide. You don't want an MDR provider that has poor communication and reporting. You want that very transparent, and we'll walk through that. And again, we'll get to the conclusion and open it up for question and answer. My slides do not want to cooperate today. All right, let's get to that first icebreaker poll question. What's your securities team biggest nightmare? The poll should have popped up on your screen. And if you can go ahead and take part in that, we'll kind of review the results and we'll give you how about 30 seconds? We won't take too much time on this. It looks like all of the above is by far leading the others, which makes total sense to me, right? 70% right now is all the above. It's a typical Monday, absolutely. Why didn't the MDR catch this? We all hear that. 20%, that's great. But 70% is all of the above, right? We all run into all these things all the time. So it looks like we're still getting a couple of responses. We'll give it 10 more seconds, and then we'll go ahead and end the poll and dive right into the rest of the presentation. All right, looks like it's slowing down. So we ended up with 64% in the all of the above section, which makes, again, complete sense to me. Everything we kind of run into all of that being security professionals. All right, let's dive into the first sign of your MDR might be failing you. False positives. Picture this. Your security team and your MDR is throwing alerts at you left and right. But here's the catch. Most of them are junk, or what we want to call false positives. I guess maybe not junk, but false positives. False positives are those alerts that scream a threat, but turn out to be absolutely nothing, or it's something that we've expected in your environment, right? So it can be that, hey, this is a false positive because in your environment, we expect this alert to be going off and we expect it, so we don't need anybody reacting to it. And what that creates is a lot of noise, and it's wasting your time, and I'm sure completely overwhelming your team with just so many alerts. So take a look at this that's on the screen right now. This is what it feels like, a mess of notifications, right? This person is just getting alerts left and right. It's a mess of notification piling up. It's bogging you down. What's the impact of that? It's going to be reduced efficiency within your department. So you're chasing all of these false positives instead of focusing on what matters. Worse, it could potentially allow the real threat to slip through because you're too buried in all these other false positives to really spot them. So that's not just frustrating, which I'm sure it's extremely frustrating. It can be dangerous to your environment. So false positives aren't just an annoyance. They're a sign that your MDR isn't doing their job. So again, sign one, false positives. So how do we fix this mess of false positives that are coming through? That's where Critical Start comes in with what a smarter MDR solution. We offer what's called our Trusted Behavior Registry. If you talk to us, you'll probably hear somebody call it the TBR, because that's what we call it internally. We're very used to calling it our TBR. Listen, we can't be an IT company or within that type of industry without having three-letter acronyms. It just wouldn't work. So this isn't just another filter that we throw at things. It really is a game changer. The Trusted Behavior Register records what's normal in your environment. So we're picking this up as what we've been building over the 13 years that we've been in business, as well as working with your teams during onboarding and what we call a tuning period to tune out those false positives. So we work with you to know, again, this is an expected behavior within your environment. So we put those as part of the Trusted Behavior Registry, and then they won't get to the SOC, they won't get alerted to you, and it really weeds down the number of alerts that get through to you for your team to work with. It uses that to auto filter out redundant alerts. Think of it like a noise canceling system, right? For your MDR, all of that clutter, it's gone because of this. You're left with what actually matters. But we don't stop there. Automation can only do so much. It's great for speed, but it misses the nuance. That's why we pair our Trusted Behavior Registry with enhanced threat detection driven by human expertise. Again, AI plays a key part of this, but we don't want to take out that human expertise, like I talked about with that 90% retention within our SOC. They don't get to that 90% without learning something along the way, right? Our SOC analysts, who are real people, not just algorithms, not just AI, dig into those alerts that automation just couldn't handle. They catch what machines miss, cutting through the noise to focus on the real threats. With Critical Start, you're not just getting tech, you're getting a team that knows how to make it work. So we pair our automation, our AI capabilities with that human element to make that a complete solution to make sure that we don't miss anything that's coming in. So let's see this in action with a real customer. We'll use HIG. Their challenge was a classic false positive nightmare. Their old MDR provider was flooding them with alerts, way too many to handle. They're just getting alerts left and right. We're talking a barrage of noise that's overwhelmed their team, burying them under pointless escalations. They couldn't keep up, and that meant real threats were getting lost. So real threats were getting through because the team was buried in all these false positives. Enter Critical Start. We brought in the Trusted Behavior Registry to tackle the flood head on. It auto-resolved those benign alerts. Think of it like clearing the junk mail out of your inbox before you even see it. It's just going away. Then our expert SOC analysts step in. These are folks with serious know-how, not just scripts, and they cut through the remaining clutter like a knife. The result, HIG's teams could finally sharpen their focus on what mattered. Real threats, not distractions. That's the difference a smart MDR makes. The HIG case study, just so you guys know, is available on criticalstart.com. If you go to the /resource section or resources, and then HIG capital security improvements, you'll be able to read everything that I'm talking about today, and actually probably goes into a little bit more detail than we're not going to be able to focus on online. All right, here's our next poll question. Which of these MDR headaches do you experience most often? Remember, we got some $25 Amazon gift cards, so go ahead and take part in this. All right, we'll give it about 30 seconds. Too many false positives. So far, that's at 100%, but we're very early. Wow, this is actually a lot more spread out than the last one. I can tell you that still false positives is the majority of responses. Let's give it another few seconds to let everybody that wants to respond. And again, get in for that Amazon gift card. Um, give you a chance to do that. So about 50% of you had too many false positives wasting our time. Exactly what our trusted behavior registry handles for you. Blind spots, I'm going to get into blind spots here in just a couple of minutes. The rigid response options, again, I'll get into that. And not enough expert help when we need it. We'll get into that a little bit too. But again, that too many false positives is by far what people are answering. All right, why don't we go ahead and close the poll and share the results? And again, that's it. The false positives takes the winner. So that was good. I appreciate everybody participating. And we will dive into sign 2, which is limited visibility. Limited visibility. Imagine you're running a security operation and your MDR is supposed to keep an eye on everything in your environment, your IT systems. Don't forget about if you're in manufacturing or oil and gas or somebody that has operational technology assets, OT assets, like all these industrial controls that you would have. Here's the problem. There are gaps in monitoring. You're not seeing the full picture because some assets, whether it's servers, endpoints, or those critical OT devices that if they go down, your factory goes down, aren't even getting watched. They're not even on the radar because there's gaps in that what an MDR provider is covering. So what's the impact? Hidden risks go undetected. If your MDR can't see everything, we can't determine if there's a threat on it, right? If we don't know what's out there, how can we possibly determine what's going on and what is lurking behind those blind spots? It's completely invisible. And then what happens? It's too late. Think of it like driving with a foggy windshield. You might miss the obstacle right in front of you. You might have just a little bit that you cleaned off, so you're seeing some of it. But what happens if that obstacle is in a part of the windshield that you don't clean off? So think about that as assets that are in part of that windshield that aren't visible to you. And we go ahead and hit something. That's not just a gap in coverage, but it's a gap in protection, which is really key. So limited visibility means you're playing defense with one hand tied behind your back, and that's a risk no one can afford. So how does Critical Start tackle limited visibility? It starts with complete signal coverage. Our core platform, so core is the platform that you get access to as part of our service, gives you real-time visibility, not only across your IT assets, but if you have OT assets that we cover also, you're seeing that IT OT convergence that's happening right now across OT environments. It's spotting unmonitored infrastructure right from day one. Then we take it further with proactive asset discovery. So we're not just relying on what you're telling us or what's happening. We're going to be proactive and do asset discovery to see if there's anything missing out there that you might not even be aware of. Automated scans cover endpoints and servers, and they will cover OT assets, ensuring no blind spots are left behind. Because we all know that there's that server sitting out there that you just forgot about, or it's not having endpoint or EDR product that's monitoring it, right? We don't want that to happen. So we want to see everything, period. So let's go back to HIG, our example for today, and what their challenge was. They didn't have full visibility into their assets, leaving risks hidden across their environment. Critical Start stepped in with the core platform that I just spoke about. It gave complete asset visibility, identifying every endpoint and wiping out those blind spots. Again, we can't monitor what we don't know about. So we have to run that asset visibility to be able to determine if there's servers, if there's endpoints out there that, again, you just might not even be aware of. So what's the result of that? It's a stronger security posture that you could count on. Sorry, my slides do not want to advance today. So what do you get with critical starts visibility? So let's break it down. First, no manual tracking. Forget about chasing down assets by hand and wrestling with those outdated lists, those spreadsheets that you have. Can't remember where those spreadsheets are. Where did I save them? Are they being updated? Our approach automates that. It automates all of that grunt work. You're not stuck piecing together what's covered. We've got that handled for you. So you can focus on strategy. And like I said, not spreadsheets. Second, confident reporting. With full visibility across your IT and OT environments, you can walk into any meeting, boardroom, and say exactly what's protected and where the risks are. What you don't want to do is obviously walk into a boardroom and realize you have some assets out there that are not being covered. Our system doesn't just check once and that's it and calls it a day. It constantly is validating your coverage, catching hidden risks, and as they pop up, that SOC signal assurance in action. Peace of mind in that nothing's slipping through the cracks. Again, you can't just rely on what you're going to give us because you might not be aware of what's out there. We can't rely on just doing this once, doing it once a month, doing it once a quarter. We have to consistently do this because things pop up all the time. Shadow IT that you're just not aware of. All right, let's move on to sign 3. We're getting through that. We did 1 and we did 2, so let's move on to 3. And what is 3? It's the inflexible deployment. So here's the deal. Your MDR should fit your business. It's not going to fit the person that's sitting next to you's business. Every business is going to be slightly different. And adapting to your unique setup, whether it's multi-vendor tools, like you're using Microsoft, you're using CrowdStrike, you're using Sumo Logic, et cetera. There's a mix of tools that could potentially be out there. And not only that, or a mix of processes that you do. Too often, you get a very rigid MDR partner. They want to make one size fits all. It's very easy for them to kind of cookie cutter it, deploy it out there, get it working. But honestly, you don't want to work with somebody that has no wiggle room. That rigidity misaligns your security, and it could end up leaving gaps because, again, your business isn't exactly like the other person's business that's sitting next to you. It's like trying to force a square peg into a round hole, like we've always learned from kindergarten. It just doesn't work, no matter how hard you try to push that in there. So what's the impact? Ineffective responses. When your MDR can't flex to match your environment, it's slow to react. Or worse, it even misses something entirely, right? Because again, if we're trying to match somebody's business to yours and we're missing something that needs to get covered, that's going to get missed entirely unless we have flexibility to match that deployment to your environment. So threats are going to slip through because the system's too stiff to pivot, leaving you with responses that don't hit the target. Inflexibility isn't just inconvenient. It's a gap that attackers can exploit. And that's a risk we need to fix and work with you on that. So very important to be flexible when you're deploying and to work with you. And our onboarding teams work very closely with you. You get assigned a project manager, you get assigned a team that works with you to make sure that deployment meets your needs. So how do we tackle the inflexibility deployment? We're going to flip that script with a solution built to adapt. First, your environment, like I said, isn't cookie cutter. You can't deploy just a cookie cutter solution. Maybe you're juggling multi-vendors, like I was saying. You might have Microsoft, you might have Cisco, you might have CrowdStrike, you might have all these others that we support. Our MDR bends to fit that. We support those diverse setups, so you're not stuck wrestling with a rigid system that just doesn't play nice with your tools. It's very rare these days to find a shop that's using one vendor and one set of tools. Then there's the real magic, tailored rules of engagement, or ROE, another three-letter acronym, right? We have plenty of them. It's powered by our trusted behavior registry, as well as rules of engagement that we can put inside our core platform of how we interact with your team. So this isn't just about plugging in and hoping for the best. The trusted behavior registry learns your business. It's not only learned via our tuning process at the beginning, but it learns it over time. So if a SOC gets an alert and we call out to you and you're like, that's an expected an alert, you can ignore that. We put that as part of your trusted behavior registry and we won't bother you with that alert again. So we learn and the system learns your normal patterns and it fines tunes those alerts to match your needs. Pair that with customizing how we detect and respond right down to your specific needs. It's like having an MDR that's custom built for you. It's flexible, it's precise, and ready to roll with whatever your organization throws at it. Again, I do want to add that it's not just that trusted behavior registry. We are very flexible within the platform to how you determine, and we work with you on how you want us to respond to specific alerts that come in. Now, what's in it for you with Critical Start's flexible approach? Let's talk benefits. First, custom asset ratings. Not every asset in your environment is equal. Your customer database, that might be mission critical, while a test server, well, that's not. With Critical Start, you get to set those priorities. We give you the power to rate your assets based on what matters most to your business. So MDR focuses on, where it counts. And then there's the big win, tailored responses that fit your needs. Again, I just talked about this. We call these playbooks. This isn't a generic playbook. We're talking detection and response strategies that are molded to your setup, whether it's tweaking rules for your specific vendors or aligning with your unique processes. You might want us to take an action on a specific alert on your behalf. You might say, just notify me and I will go ahead and take that action once you notify me. Our MDR adapts to you in the way that you work. That means faster and smarter reactions to all of your threats, all built around what keeps your organization ticking. It's flexible and delivers results, which is what's key, right? We have to make sure that we're delivering the results that are important for you. So let's go back to HIG. What was their challenge for this? Obviously, their previous MDR was just really rigid. It couldn't adapt to their Microsoft environment, leaving them with slow, very misaligned responses. But Critical Start changed that. We delivered tailored detection rules and flexible rules of engagement through our core platform that is perfectly suited to meet their needs. The result, it's a faster detection and smoother operations, that flexibility that works for them that we were able to put in place for them. All right. I'm not sure if this is our last poll question. It might be. How confident are you that your current MDR gives you, full visibility into your environment? Doesn't surprise me. Somewhat confident is kind of winning by far. We'll give this about 30 more seconds while I get to take a sip of water. All right, somewhat confident is very winning. I'm actually glad to see that there's some very confident people out there. I think that's great. If you're very confident in what you're seeing, I think that's awesome. There's also some not confident, which is flying blind half the time. That's we hear that all the time, and that's something that we can help you with. I'm glad to see what's visibility. We just pray nothing bad happens is 0. That would not be good in your environment. All right, so why don't we go ahead and end the poll, and we can move on. All right, sign 4, we're getting there. There's 5 signs, remember. It's about lack of human expertise. Automation alone, that just doesn't work. It fails. Tools can't catch everything. They miss nuanced threats because they lack the human context to adapt and prioritize. That takes a human to be able to know that, and the human has to have the expertise and the knowledge to be able to do that. That impact is very serious. Without expert eyes, the critical risk could slip right through, weakening your security posture. That's where a purely automated MDR falls apart, and why human insight is just non-negotiable for us. We will never replace our human interaction that you get with our security operations center with just AI. Again, AI is used to enhance it, not replace it. So here's how Critical Start solves the expertise gap. Again, it's human-driven MDR. We have 2 US-based SOCs. Again, I want to stress they boast a 90% retention rate. I think it's actually a little bit above that. With before an analyst takes 1 phone call, they get over 300 hours of training. So they're going to come in, they're going to start their training. We don't even put them on the phones or put them in front of anybody that can do anything. We have 300 hours of training to get started. Those are experts that are digging into every threat, not just algorithms. But it's not just the humans alone. It's technology enabled. The core platform boosts our SOC productivity, and it pairs automation with personalized onboarding tailored to your business. That's the hybrid power you need to stay ahead. One doesn't solve it completely. If it's 100% AI, things are going to slip through. If it's 100% human, we're all human, something's going to slip through. You want that hybrid approach that allows to make sure everything is covered. All right, let's go back to HIG again. Their old MDR leaned too hard on automation. They were just AI, everything. They missed critical threats and slowing them down in their Microsoft environment. So what did we do? Our expert SOC analyst trained over 300 hours each. I want to stress that before they even get into the answering calls. They stepped in. We also have a mobile SOC. Our mobile SOC, runs on your phone. And in case you're not home, in case you're not in front of your computer, in case you're not at the office, like me on a soccer field on a Saturday, everything that, pretty much everything that you can see within our core platform, you can see within our mobile SOC. You can actually take actions from our mobile SOC. So they were able to resolve incidents faster, and they can contain these threats even when you're on the go. That's human expertise making a difference. All right. What do you gain with Critical Start's human expertise? Again, faster response. We are able to take that, and this is, again, I think it might have just repeated a slide for you. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that one. All right. How much do you rely on automation alone for threat detection in your current MDR? So another poll question for you. Don't forget about those $25 Amazon gift certificates. So I'm going to, it looks like this is the wrong poll question. Or is it? Sorry. Maybe I'm seeing the wrong one.
It totally is. I am so sorry.
That's okay. No worries. It's still a good poll question. So this might be the one that we were supposed to come up to, and I apologize, it's in the wrong order, but no problem. We can make it work. What's important to you as an MDR solution, right? False positives is pretty high up there. It's not number one, but clear reporting to keep us in the loop. that's 40% of the responses, where 33 was for those false positives. We have a lot of reporting capabilities out of our core platform. Not only do you get a lot of reports that are built out of the box, but we can customize reports for you. So if you need a specific report for your board, you can work with our customer success team to get that specific report built. And the other thing I want to stress within our core platform is it's extremely transparent. Anything that our SOC analysts are doing, you are able to see within the core platform. You can communicate to them within the core platform. So that's how we keep that clear reporting and making sure you're in the loop. We're not doing anything behind your back or without your knowledge. So we will go ahead and move on from this poll, since I think it was going to be the next one anyways. But again, we're critical start. We can be flexible, right? So here's the last sign. Sign 5 is poor communication and reporting. It's actually just what we talked about. So picture this. Your MDR gives you opaque updates. They're not being transparent with you. There's no clear feedback from the SOC, just really incomplete data. You're left in the dark about what's really happening. So what's that impact on you? It's blind decision making. You have no idea what's going on. Without transparency, you can't act effectively, and unresolved risks pile up. That's a failure Critical Start refuses to let happen. We are extremely transparent, like I said, within core. We are not doing anything in core that you can't see. So how do we do this? We have powerful core platform as a unified dashboard, gives you real-time visibility on attacks, vulnerabilities, what the SOC is doing, all in that one clear view. So again, I talked about there's dashboards that are out of the box. There's reports that are out of the box. We can do custom dashboards for you if there's certain data that you need to see. We can do custom reports for you if there's a way that you need to see your data that is not how the out of the box reports are giving it to you. Instant alerts, there's continuous monitoring with real-time log failure notifications. So if we're not receiving a log from one of your endpoints or from something else within your environment that we should, and that log source goes down or that log intake goes down, we're not seeing what's going on. So we have that health monitoring that's in place to make sure that if we see a log ingest that we're supposed to be getting, either goes to 0, or all of a sudden we're getting a lot more ingest or even a lot less ingest, we're going to alert on that. It automatically opens a support ticket. We're going to call you and see what's going on there. So that's extremely important, because if a log source goes down and we start getting 0 log, it's not going to do anything for anybody. All right. How does this play out with HIG? Limited visibility in what the SOC was doing and poor reporting. They were guessing about their threats. What did we do? The core platform delivered real-time reports, like I talked about, and it had actionable insights. It wasn't just a bunch of numbers, but there was actionable insights within that. That clarity helped them boost their operational efficiency. And it's proving communication can be a strength. It's not a weakness. All right, we actually already took this poll. So if everybody's okay with it, we'll go ahead and skip it. All right, almost done here. Let's recap. 5 signs your MDR isn't working. False positives bogging you down. Limited visibility, hiding all those risks. The inflexible responses that misaligns. Lack of expertise that's missing threats. Poor reporting, just leaving you blind. So here's the bottom line. Choose an MDR that prevents breaches, not one that lets them slip. The right solution strengthens your security and keeps your business running. That's exactly what matters. So what does Critical Start MDR offer you? Greater risk reduction. our proactive monitoring and human-driven response catches threats before they get escalated. You'll get enhanced productivity and a stronger security posture, and that's what's key. Our expert SOCs and tailored tools make your team more efficient and your defenses tougher over time. So, you ready to fix your MDR? Visit criticalstart.com, get more information, and let's see how we can get started and partner together. So let's make security work for you. And that is the end of the presentation for today. And I unfortunately cannot see the chat right now since I'm presenting. So Crystal, I'm going to turn it back over to you to see if there's any Q&A.
Yes, I am here for you. So sorry about the poll earlier, everybody. But like Stephen said, we are flexible. That's what we do best. So let's move on to the Q&A. We have a few in queue right now. So I know Paul asked a couple, so I will kind of go from there. So Paul asked, can you explain how effective the ML models, Critical Star, are to improve accuracy in threat detection and reduce false positives?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we don't rely 100% on AI or large language models or our TBR or our human response. We combine all of them to make sure that we have better coverage. If you combine them all, the better you're going to get. So AI is helping our SOC analyst respond and provide maybe even a better response that and they learn from that. But again, we want to make sure that we do them all so we don't miss anything that's coming through.
All
What else
right.
we got, Chris?
Also from Paul, what types of more routine cybersecurity tasks should be prioritized for automation to help maximize resource efficiency within Critical Star?
Yeah, we're going to automate again that trusted behavior registry. So we're going to shrink the number of false positives. We automate that detection of your critical assets that are sitting out there. So you don't have to manually go out there and make sure everything is there, because manual, I guarantee you're going to miss some. And the other thing that we want you to get away from is keeping everything tracked on a spreadsheet. So we built in all that automation within our core platform. Automation within core platform also builds these dashboards that you don't have to go out and build on your own. Those dashboards are there. We also can export those dashboards within a PowerPoint presentation that if you need to provide those results to your board, it's very easy for you to just automate, pull those in. We can also automate reports that get sent out, for example, on a weekly basis. So every Monday morning, you can have in your inbox a report that gets pulled out of core, so you don't have to go find it within core. It's just going to be sitting in your inbox that you can see. So hopefully that answers your question.
Awesome. And this one's from Kevin. Once you discover OT, what do you do about those assets? How do you monitor their behavior? How do you protect them?
Yeah, OT is, if you're asking, you're probably very familiar with the OT world. The OT world usually has older equipment that's sitting out there, not the factory equipment, but maybe the computers that are actually running it. They sometimes are even running very old versions of Windows. They, if it's, listen, the thing in OT is if it's working, don't break it, or don't try to fix it if it's not broken. So we can go out and automate to make sure we capture everything that's out there, just like we do on the IT side. And then we're going to look for a few different things, right? We're going to look for trust boundaries. So typically within an OT environment, they're segmented off from both IT as well as the internet. So what we're looking for is anything getting across those firewalls that shouldn't. That's one thing that we're looking at. Is anything getting beyond that trust boundary that shouldn't? Are you getting out to the internet through a proxy? Is anything getting out to the internet that shouldn't be, that we can alert on? The other thing that we're able to do is to take a look at if anybody is doing something within the environment that not necessarily is a type of malware or ransomware, but it could be that it's being done at the wrong time. So what you don't want to necessarily happen is somebody's performing a change in the environment that's outside of the change window that you have for OT. So we can monitor that also. We have two different offerings. One that we call our standard, which is if you do not have an OT security tool like a Clarity, Dragos, Nozomi, et cetera. If you do have those, we can also monitor the alerts coming out of those tools. And those are our extended service. But we can offer a lot of benefits on OT, even if you don't have a specific security tool, by monitoring those trust boundaries. And again, making sure that we're not invalid, making sure all the, the control violations are in place.
Awesome. Hope that answers your question, Kevin. Next up from Delvane, what do you usually include in your incident report email? Investigation findings, remediation, etc.
Yeah, again, it's very transparent. So anything that a SOC analyst did to remediate that, you will get as part of, we can send that to you via email. You can see that right within the core platform. I can't stress how enough that core is transparent. Everything that the analyst is typing into that platform, you can go in and see it. If you want to get a report, we can send that to you also. So any type of remediation, what is the alert that we saw, and what is, kind of explain a little bit about the alert and why we think it's bad. All that information is available to you. Hopefully
Great.
that was answering your question.
Yeah. Next is also from Paul. What's the impact of poor communication and reporting on burned out? Are there metrics and studies that demonstrate the impact?
The poor reporting and was it burned down, did you say?
Poor communication and reporting on burned out.
So like I said, as part of the slide presentation, if we're not communicating to you or we're getting a lot of false positives into your analysts, that's no good for you. It's gonna we're not going to be able to burn down any of the alerts that are coming in, and it's going to cause a lot of potentially missed alerts that are coming in because we're focused on the wrong thing. So all of that is extremely important to make sure that we're covering everything.
Awesome. Next is from Sorba. How does Critical Start coexist with CrowdStrike?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So Critical Start, if you're talking about CrowdStrike Falcon on the endpoint, we directly interact with CrowdStrike via their API. So we take in all of those alerts and the logs into our core platform via the API. So we have full support of CrowdStrike, and we can then take response actions on your behalf if you want us to. That's part of the rules of engagement, that if you want us to take that response for you, or if you want us to take certain responses and not take others, you let us know. We are also building out an integration with CrowdStrike's Next Gen SIEM. So if you're a CrowdStrike house that uses all of CrowdStrike's product, we fully support those, and we will be coming out with their Next Gen SIEM support just over the next couple of months. We're fully integrating with them right now.
Great question. Next one, and this will be the last one. Do you have a SOC solution, or you can pick and choose the components from Critical Start?
So if I'm understanding your question, do you want to know if you can just buy certain, like we have customers that come to us and say, can we just buy your trusted behavior registry? Or can we just use your SOC services on the weekends because we handle it 5 days a week? Simple answer is no. We do not do anything like that. As part of our MDR service, you get all of that. We don't break it out into you can buy this from this column or that from that column. It's all part of the service that we offer you. We just don't think selling it by pieces provides you first of all, the continuity within your environment from the SOC. So if we're only covering that for 2 days a week, we just don't get the continuity and the visibility to your environment that we like to have. And that's Yeah, so no, we do not do that at this time. I will never say never, but right now we do not do that.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out to us for more information. We love to follow up with you, and kind of continue the discussion if you have more questions regarding on our solutions. And with that, everyone, I wasn't lying when I say this is a fantastic session. I really hope y'all walk away from with valuable insights. And again, your participation is always appreciated. We love to see those poll questions. I mean, the poll results from you and like the questions that you've asked. So again, really appreciate that. So with that, I will conclude today's webinar. First, I would like to say a big huge thank you to Stephen for
You're welcome.
presenting, be our speaker, for, putting together the presentation, and also to all of you for attending. Stephen, would you like to say something quickly for closing?
I will just say thank you again. Those were great questions. If I didn't answer your question the way that you wanted or I didn't understand it correctly, please just reach out afterwards. I'd be happy to get back in touch with you and answer any questions that you have. And I really appreciate everybody joining and have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, and I hope to see you all at one of our future events. Thank you, everybody. Take care.